Social media is pretty amazing, don't you think? I think about 10 years ago, which is right around when I joined Facebook, maybe 11 years ago. I joined it, and when I described Facebook to people, I said, "Oh, they now let old people be a part of the thing that college kids are on." Facebook and so many other social media outlets and even the internet was not what it was, not what it is today back then. And I think about all the incredible ways that myself as a person, as a mom, being a part of a mom forum group like the Branch Moms, my business, how I'm able to communicate with people, and all of the upsides of social media. There is obviously some drastic downsides to it as well. The other day, I was on a popular group in our town that has tens of thousands of people, and someone posted a review about a business owner and a business that I personally know. And they made a comment that they got really rude customer service. And this post then blew up into people saying, "We've used them. They're incredible. They give back so much to the community. I know the owner personally. She'd want to know about this." And then other people giving other, not negative reviews, but reviews of other places that the person could go for this service. As you continue to scroll down through all these posts, eventually the business owner found out about this, and she went on and said, "Oh, I'm so sorry that you feel you had a negative experience. I would love to make this right. I'm going to send you a private message. I'd love to connect with you and hear a little bit more about what your experiences was, so I know how to correct if there's a problem." And it got me thinking about the times that my practice or my business has had some negative reviews. Sometimes people negatively review me as the admin of a large moms group. And just wanted to share my thoughts on that and some things for you to consider maybe before you make that negative review, before you post that on social media, for something that the whole world will be able to see for all of time. So, we talked about kind of the pros and cons of social media. One bad post against a business can really drastically affect someone's thought process of using them. When we had a patient come in, it was maybe about a year ago. She came in, she left, she seemed happy. She said she'd call. She didn't express any negative feeling towards the practice as she left our office. She went home and then literally slammed one of our doctors. We get notifications for reviews, and most of our reviews are really good for our practice. So I got the little notification. I was like, "Oh, someone gave us a review on Facebook," and then my heart just sank. And I'm reading this and I'm like, "Oh my gosh." I call my office manager. I said, "Do you remember this interaction? Was she upset?" Well, she certainly is upset now. And some of her complaints were that he didn't spend enough time with her and that there was no cracking noise that happened. And so I called her, and it took a little while, probably took a week for her to call me back, but I finally got on the phone with her. And she was angry. When it really all boils down to it, it doesn't seem like it was all should have been focused on my doctor. She was angry that she felt that there was no adjustment that had happened. And really in the world of chiropractic, if someone hasn't been adjusted for a really long time and they're in a lot of pain and they are extremely tight, many times we're not wanting to kind of create a full adjustment experience because it can flare people up. It can make them sore. So as a doctor, you have to use your gut and your intuition and your knowledge and experience to understand how much pressure are we putting here. And maybe we're doing a little more trigger point therapy, or we're doing some lighter techniques to try to calm the nervous system down before we actually get in there and do a little bit more adjustments. And then she was very, very, very upset that my doctor had explained how to use an ice pack. And she's made the comment to me, "What does he think? I'm an idiot?" And I said, "Well," I said, "a lot of people don't use them correctly. I always explain it. It's not because I think anyone's dumb. It's that some people wrap it in too thick of a towel and it doesn't do anything. And some people put it right on their skin and they give themselves a frostbite." So to actually make the therapy worthwhile, there's a certain, you want to wrap it in one layer of paper towel from frozen. You want to keep it on for 10 to 15 minutes. No, no longer than that. So she was upset that he had gone over those instructions. At the end of the day, she very angrily told me she refused to take it down. I told her that I would refund any money that was paid into our office, because clearly she was upset. And it just is kind of out there, still on our reviews, as a 1 star instead of most of our 5 stars. And sometimes it's just not about you or not about the business. Sometimes it is. Sometimes you just have a bad experience. I think about going to a restaurant and it takes a super long time for your food to come, or someone forgets to put your food in, or you have a server that just doesn't seem that into making your experience a good one. You know, as you think about that experience, a couple of things could have happened, right? What you don't know is what's going on behind the scenes. Did 2 of their kitchen staff call off because they were sick? Did that server have a really, really bad day? I know for myself, I have gotten 1 negative review to Blue Cross Blue Shield, which is one of our largest insurance providers that our patients have, their patient base has out in this area. And my billing lady that worked for me years ago said that someone called in to complain about me. And to my knowledge of 22 years in practice, it's the only complaint I ever got. And as she was describing what she felt that I wasn't completely focused on her, and that she felt a little rushed. And so when it came down to us finding out who this patient was based off the date and time of when she came in, it was literally the day before my divorce. And, we got back to Blue Cross Blue Shield. My billing lady said, you know what, Dr. Cathy is a wonderful doctor and she really does care about her patients. This probably was just not her best day. The complaint didn't go on above that, right? It wasn't like I did anything wrong. She just didn't feel like I was completely invested in our time together. And to be honest, I probably wasn't. And thankfully, back then there wasn't some of these entities where you can go on and just kind of slam a business for one experience. Another thing to think about is there's a company, rhymes with help. I have never found them to be all that helpful. I've talked to especially restaurant owners that the reviews are sometimes hidden. So, I've been sitting with a restaurant owner and he or she will pull up their business Yelp review and you can see the 5 stars that have been hidden. This one restaurant specifically, I think their rating was like 3.7 out of 5, which is not a good rating. When you look at that, you're like, oh, it's not a 1, but it certainly isn't a 4.5 or a 4.7, where that most of the reviews coming in are 5s. And he literally showed me there were like 55 or 4-star reviews that were recent that had been hidden. And so he went and printed all of these reviews out and made a big poster so that when you walk in the door, please consider that these have been hidden and these are the most recent reviews that I've gotten. So I don't know how companies like that do that. I know we've had a couple of reviews on our practice that have been hidden. And one woman, she was so excited and she took so much time and energy into creating this really nice review. She'd been a patient for about 2 years. And she posted it and it just never showed up. We could see it on our end and it somehow was like kind of in this hidden category. So we called the company and they said that she was not a either preferred user or a approved user. I don't know what terminology they used. So that is when you're looking at some of these reviews, I think that's something to keep in mind, to keep in the back of your head that, am I seeing the full picture? Another thing to consider is that more people are going to be inclined to go on and write a negative review than they are a positive review. we're so fortunate to have some great positive reviews, but when you walk away from a restaurant and you've had a great time, normally you're talking about in the car like, oh my gosh, that was so great. But to go home and actually get on a social media channel or on a review site and take the time to post something, that doesn't happen all that often with many people. But if you have a bad experience, sometimes for some people, the first thing you're like, I'm gonna bash them on social media so they get what they're coming. And a lot of people have that feeling of like, oh, I need to tell everyone about it. I need to share this really, negative experience. And in today's age and time, those things stick. And especially in a COVID world, businesses are struggling. Not all businesses. There's some that are thriving because their service or what they have to offer actually kind of matches up with the needs of kind of this new way of living life. I'm recording this on Zoom. I had never been on a Zoom call prior to COVID. Mortgage rates are really low. I know many mortgage lenders are doing really, really well. People selling things for at-home desk ergonomics, and the list goes on of businesses that are thriving. But when you think of restaurants and you think of stores that base a lot of their sales on walk-in traffic, so think about our downtown areas, our large cities. So many of them are struggling to the point of not knowing if they're going to survive, and those negative reviews can really hurt them. So I guess I just wanted to come on and share a little bit about that and just maybe make a few people pause before they give that review. The last thing I'll say about it is if you do see negative reviews, what is the business or the business owners or the manager's response? When I'm trying to look for places, let's say, to go on vacation. We like to go to some of the all-inclusive resorts, and you look at the reviews. If they're above a 4 out of 5, and they have thousands of reviews, and the last couple have just been awful, I look at, has the hotel management or the owner or the business gone on and said anything? And if there's just a bunch of negative reviews with no response, then I give it a little bit more weight. If after every single one of a potential negative review, or even not a perfect review, someone goes on and says, hi, thank you so much for staying with us. We're so sad to hear about your experience. We'd love to connect with you to, just like what my friend did the other day on a local channel. If it's like on a TripAdvisor or something that sees, a lot of people see this stuff. And if the owner or management has gone on every single negative review and tried to reach out, then I give a lot of weight to that as a positive thing that the business is doing. And I give a lot less weight to that actual review, because you just never know who's behind a keyboard, typing away, kind of shielded by a computer, and not having to be in person and say these things. So hope that gives you some things to think about. And I'm sure most of you aren't going around rampantly, posting horrible reviews. But if you do have a bad experience, maybe giving everyone a little extra grace during this time, especially these small businesses, that goes a long way. Hope you have a great day.